Hi class, so today we're going to start our new module. It's module 5 and we're going to be working on lesson 1 today. And this is going to be kind of similar to some of the things that we did in module 4, except now we're going to start adding larger numbers, okay? So this whole lesson is all going to be about if we can add 10 more to a number, or 10 less, or 100 more, or 100 less. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. So if we think about a practice problem, we could say like, what is 10 more than 16? Then that would be kind of like saying, well, what is 10 plus 16? If we look at the place value spots, we see 6 goes in the ones place, and 1 plus 1 in the tens place would be 26. So 10 more than 16 would be 26. What if you said, what's 10 less than 16? Well, you, instead of adding 10, you would be taking away 10. So that would be, if we looked at the place value spot, the tens place, we'd be taking away this 10. So 10 less than 16 would be 6, because we would say, oh, there's, no more 10s in the tens place. It's only the 6 in the ones place. We could do 100 more than 16. 100 more than 16 would be 116. Now, we're not going to get into what if you did 100 less than 16. You're going to learn about that when you're in older grades. So let's look at some sentence frames. So sentence frames are ways that we can actually kind of see an equation, but it's done with words. So if we look at this equation down below, or the first one, it says 10 more than blank is blank. So these words here are really important. So see, 10 more, that means I'm adding 10 than a number is this whole number. So the word is kind of acts like an equal sign. So 10 more than something equals something. And then same thing with down below on this next one, 10 less than something is something. So I would say 10 less than a number is equal to this number. So let's say we have just a magic number that we're going to use today, 132. So we can plug this number in to our sentence frame and come up with an answer. So 10 more than 132 is blank. So that's kind of like saying, well, let's add 10 to 132. So I see my tens place number is going to increase by 1. So instead of it being 132, my answer would be 142. That's 10 more than 132. Okay. If we look at it for this next problem, 10 less than 132, that would be like saying, okay, instead of adding a 10, we're going to take away one of the 10s here. So 10 less than 132 would be 122. We would take away one of the tens place numbers, and it kind of works well with within this sentence frame because we can see 10 less than 132 is 122. Okay. Now we can do the same thing with a hundreds place sentence frame. So let's say 100 more than blank is blank. So that's kind of like saying 100 more than a number is the same as this number. Okay? So here we go. 100 more than 132 is 232, because the hundreds place number increased by 100. We went 100 plus 132. The hundreds place number So let's say I see a problem like this and it says blank is 100 less than blank. And let's say they give me the number 325. That's kind of like saying blank is equal to 100 less than 325. So that's kind of like saying what's 325 take away 100. So if I did this problem, maybe I have to put this in vertical form to solve it. And I would have to use the place value rules that we do. We start in the ones place and always subtract down. Okay, so this one I don't see that I have to do any regrouping because I'm only taking away 100 from 325. So let's see. 5 take away 0 is 5. 2 take away 0 is 2. And then 3 take away 1 is 2. So my answer is 225 is, it's 100 less than 325. So sometimes the equations might be a little bit backwards, and I like to write it out as an equation to help me understand what I need to do. So I'm seeing a small number here is 100 less than this number. So when I see less than, that's telling me that this number here needs to be my biggest number, my whole number, and that the other numbers are just the parts, 100, and then I had to find the other part, 325. So let's say we start seeing a pattern of numbers, and I'm going to write out some, and I want you to see what do you think the pattern is. So I see 67, 57, 47, and then some blanks here. So if you remember, we started learning about the arrow way, and the arrow way was kind of our way to look at the patterns that we see when we're either counting up or counting down. So if I look here at this pattern, I see I'm going from 67, 57, 47. I see I'm going down by a group of numbers. So we used to do the arrow way where we would draw an arrow and we would say, okay, I see that we are taking away in this pattern, and my ones place numbers are staying the same, but my tens place numbers are getting smaller. So I see that we're taking away 10 as we count down. So the arrow way is where we start using our arrow to help us understand how to finish the pattern. So take away 10, take away 10. So if I'm at my next part, I have to continue to take away 10. So what happens is I see 47, take away 10 would leave me with 4 take away 1 in my tens place. So that would leave me with 37. And then if I continue with the arrow way, I'm going to take away another 10, and I see that I would have to say 37 take away 10 is 27. And I have one more arrow to take away, and 27 take away 10 leaves me with, over here in my final spot, 17. So the arrow way is a way to help you understand patterns and ways to count either up or to count down. Now, when we were in class together, we started doing some pretty hard arrow ways. So let's say we had 542, and instead of telling us what the pattern is, they told us what the arrows were. So they said that this one is plus 100, and that when you finish finding that answer, you're going to do plus 10, and then plus 10, and then one more plus 100. So we have to kind of follow what the arrows say to find the pattern. So let's look. We have 542 plus 100. That means my hundreds place number is growing from 500 to 600 with 42. So let's see. It would be 642. But then my next arrow says to add 10. So instead of increasing my hundreds place, I have to increase my tens place. So I'm going from 642 to 600, and my tens place number is growing, 652. Okay. And then my next arrow says I'm increasing my tens place number again. So I went from 642 to 652 to now I'm going to go to 662, because that increases my tens place. So all of my tens place numbers right here, 4, 5, 6, have grown. But now my last one tells me I have to increase my hundreds place number again by 1. So my final answer that I'm going to see is instead of 662, it's going to now turn into 762. Okay, so the arrowway also kind of guides you into how to do some of the problems, and you have to pay attention to the different place value spots, like the tens place and the hundreds place, so that way you keep increasing, or you might even get some that start doing takeaway. So let's see, if I did subtraction, we could do that also, and this one is the same thing. You would have to pay very close attention to the place value spot. So let's see, it's 542, and we'll only do a few of these. We'll say take away 10, take away 10, take away 100. Okay, so same thing. You need to look at each place value spot that's being asked. It's asking you to take away a tens place number. So instead of 542, I now have to go down to 532. So my tens place number went from 4 to 3. And I need to do that again for this next number. 532 take away 10 leaves me with 522. Okay? And then the final one is asking me to take away a hundreds place spot. So instead of taking away a 10, now I have to take away 100 from my 500. So my final answer is 422. Okay? So the arrowway could either be growing or it could be subtracting. So you just have to look at what it's asking you to do. The last thing we're going to look at today is you might see some problems that say solve using the arrowway. Now, if you remember, the arrowway is just a strategy. It's just a way to help you solve the problems and see different ways to go about coming up with an answer, okay? That doesn't mean you're going to be using the arrowway every time you do an addition problem. It's just another way to solve the problem, okay? So try your best, but there's always vertical form is always still the best way to go about solving any of these larger numbers, okay? So what we're going to do is just like before, I'm going to write out 211, and I have to see what do I need to add by. I have 100, 0 tens, and 5 ones. So I can use the arrowway, and I'm going to add 100 to this number because I see that in my other add-in. So 100 is added, and so right now I have 100 plus 211 is 311. Okay, so I've added my 100, but I also have to add 5 ones. So I'm just going to say plus 5. You could add, and if it's easier for you, we did this before where you would put each one like plus 1, plus 1, plus 1, but we talked about if we are able to start to solve these problems a little faster, then we should do that too, okay? So I see that I just need to add 5 ones, so that's what I'm going to put here. So I have 311 plus 5 more means a 5 plus my ones place is going to get added, so 316 is my final answer, okay? Now I can check that with vertical form. I could say 211 plus 105. And I have 1 plus 5 is 6, 1 plus 0 is 1, and 2 plus 1 is 3. So I have the same answer vertical form, and I have the same answer using the arrowway, okay? So this is just a strategy to use. If your assignments tell you to use the arrowway, you might need a piece of scratch paper to practice. But it's one of those things where you just want to see what place value you need to be adding, and that's what the point of the arrowway is. You see 100 and you see 5 ones, okay?